Jenny McCarthy Show. Oh!
Welcome back to the Jenny McCarthy Show. I'm Jenny McCarthy Wahlberg. I'm so excited to talk to him. I'm a huge fan. Huge. I saw him a long time ago and watched him and said, oh my God, he is the greatest actor ever living. Haley Joel Osment, welcome to my show.
Hey, how's it going?
Congratulations on everything.
Thank you so much. Yeah, it's been a fun year.
It has to be. You know, this business is one hell of a business, isn't it?
It really is, yeah.
I mean, and one of the hardest things to do is to stay relevant and keep working in this business when you're constantly churning up new talent in this town and getting more defeated as you get older. It's kind of, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's a challenge, definitely.
And here you are promoting your show, Future Man, streaming on Hulu, which has become one of my new favorite streaming devices.
Definitely.
Also promoting 2 upcoming movies, Extremely Wicked, Shockingly Evil and Vile, and The Devil Has a Name. You've been busy, my friend.
Yeah, 2018 was very busy, yeah.
Good for you.
Thanks.
Now, time travel, STDs, genetic engineering, and a big fuck up. Is this the backbone of the series? Did I do it right?
It is, yes. Josh Hutcherson is a time traveler trying to save the world from an apocalypse that comes because me and Keith David cure herpes in our lab. And
I love it.
you can recognize the minds behind this series with Kyle and Ari and Seth and Evan. But in season 1, he succeeds, he thinks, and kills Keith David and blows up his lab. But my character continues his research 150 years in the future, causes World War III anyway, and then tries to offload humanity to Mars.
This sounds like the greatest show ever made.
Yeah, we really think so. And I don't always like watching myself, but I have actually been watching season 2 like back in the hotel on my laptop in between these appearances.
Oh, that's so good. That's a good sign because I surely hate watching myself too, so I completely understand. I mean, do they drug test the writers before they start?
No, it's California. We don't do that.
Oh, you're right. That's why the work is getting so much more interesting. Way better.
Yeah.
Do you have you partaken since it's legal now?
No, and I think people have that idea, particularly with Seth and Evan. But it's a very difficult show to shoot, and also all of these guys are running like several movies and television shows all at the same time. So there wasn't really time for smoke breaks when we were working, and a lot with my stuff and Eliza Coop. Eliza Coop plays 2 clones of herself, and I am a holographic AI projection, so I can't touch solid objects. So every scene has to be shot like 3 different ways so that we can layer them all in special effects. So it's grueling.
Holy shit!
Yeah.
Is it easy to understand, or is it one of those like momentum things we have to go back and forth and try to figure out what's going on?
It is. You definitely should watch. I mean, you can understand season 2, but you probably should watch season 1 just to get an idea of the story. And we, even though it's a very silly comedy, we do try and stay consistent with our notions of time travel and the laws that we've imposed upon our universe. So,
I mean, curing herpes is my most favorite thing of all. I was born into a family of like 600 Irish immigrants, and they all showed up with honker cold sores and then decided to kiss all the babies, and now every one of us. I'm like, thanks a lot. What, we got sucking goats' butts in Ireland? Jesus.
We're working on the cure. In season 1, we just had all of these real live possums that we put big cold sores on.
No!
That was what was in the lab. Yeah. It was pretty funny. It was a good visual gag, yeah.
So you're having fun doing the show.
It really is fun. And when it's always such a gift to be able to do multiple seasons of a show because you maintain those relationships with people and you get to know each other even better. We even got together in a practice space because we all love talking about music and everything. We did a little jam during the holidays. That's how much we get along. So.
No way.
Yeah.
You have a song?
No. We were just like pulling stuff off the top of our heads, just like
I see
messing
what you
around.
mean. Just fucking around.
Yeah.
So do you think Future Man seems pretty on point to where we're heading in real life?
In some ways, yes, because even though it's a silly comedy, it was sort of impossible to avoid the pervading sense of doom that goes through everything. And a big theme of this season is that we're 150 years in the future. There's no animals left. Everything is a hot, dry desert, with very little to eat. And it's just, it's a very bleak vision of the future that seems pretty dead on right now. Yeah.
What shows are you into right now? Like, what is your big, like, oh, I need to go binge that?
I'm really excited for the second season of Fleabag, the show that Phoebe Waller-Bridge does. And Olivia Colman, who's in The Favorite, was in that as well, and she's in another one of my favorite series, which is no longer on, but there's 9 seasons of it, so I watch it a lot. Peep Show, that Channel 4 series in the UK, and I just watched Killing Eve over the holidays too. So there's lots of good stuff. Yeah, I'm always behind on things. Like there's lots of series that I need to catch up on. Everybody keeps telling me I need to see Boardwalk Empire, and that's been off the air for a while. So
I know.
Yeah.
I follow everybody else. Like, it took me 7 years to believe everyone to watch Game of Thrones, and then I binged it within 3 months.
Yeah, and then it's like immediate, right? Yeah, I had the same thing happen where I saw those videos when the Red Wedding happened of people freaking out, and it was such a huge moment. I was like, I'll be bummed out if this is ruined for me before I watch the series. So I've been.
Have you watched the entire Game of Thrones?
Yeah, many times. Now I'm all caught up. And then I told myself, I was like, I need to be reading like different books. I can't be reading a fantasy series. Then I read the whole series of books too. So
I know.
I'm deep into it. Yeah.
Right? I mean, I'm so deep in it. We just got 2 new dogs and named them Drogon and Nymeria. So
that's good. That's deep knowledge there.
I mean, do you have any guesses as to where that might end?
I definitely have guesses. And that's the fun thing. The books really do add a dimension to it because all of the bizarre prophecies, like when Daenerys goes into the House of the Undying in season 2, they couldn't quite show all of the prophecies that are in the book. The book, it's way more of an expansive sort of psychedelic thing that she goes through in that house. And there's all these images in there that seem really chilling about where the series is going. That'll do it, like the kings and queens part of it is going to matter less than like the multi-dimensional time traveling stuff that they do. I think the thing that blew me away the most in the series so far was the Hodor thing, because that's something he seeded like 25 years ago.
Exactly.
That's from the very first book, and then it has a payoff like that. That was really like, okay, the rules of this universe are different than I thought.
I started crying. I was like, oh my God, Hodor!
Yeah. It's an intense episode, yeah.
Do you think Jon Snow is the Night King? Someone threw that out there, and I'm like, what?
And then they say like Bran could be the Night King, and but you saw like an older man get stabbed in the chest with an ice thing by the children, but that could be an older Bran. I don't know. It's hard to see. I hope it's something that I can't predict that's going to happen. Yeah.
What is the audition process like for you now? Because I know that they still make people read no matter how big you are. So are you still doing that?
Oh yeah, sure. I auditioned for Future Man 3-4 years ago when we first got started. And there's things that you can do off of an offer these days, but for a lot of things, you got to go in and read, got to screen test for shows and everything. So the audition process remains an important part of the business. Yeah,
it just sucks dick, doesn't it? I'm sorry.
It's hard to. Sometimes it's just you have to make a strong decision about what they want without a lot of information. That's probably the biggest challenge of it.
Yeah, and then also, a lot of it has to do with, you just don't look the part. You're like, but I'm the fucking best actor for it.
A lot of it, I think, is sometimes producers are looking for what they have in their head to walk through the door, and so you just got to hope that that's you.
Right?
Yeah.
Has there been anyone you've ever been intimidated to work with, since you work with so many people?
Not like afraid, but I was I worked on a miniseries called The Spoils of Babylon, which I think is still on Netflix, and that was Will Ferrell and Kristen Wiig and Tobey Maguire, and was like a very out there sort of comedic tone. And the fun thing with that is that I was, I think those are some of the funniest people around. And then working with people like that who are such great improvisers and are so generous that they just make you better. Like just by being in a scene with someone, you're like, oh, well, this is like really fun to do that. So
it is. And did Toby try to take your money away during a poker game?
No, well, I would never play poker with him. He'd kill me. Yeah, he's too good. Yeah.
Too good, and he's a little bit of a cheater. I mean, this might be a really mature question, but I don't care. I'm asking it. My husband Donnie was in The Sixth Sense.
That's right, yeah.
Who blew me away with his. I didn't know it was him.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden we were married, and he's like, I came on TV. I go, holy fuck, that's you! Yeah. I totally forgot about that. Still one of my favorite movies. I tell Donnie, I'm like, that movie is just one of those ones that just sends chills throughout your whole body. It's insane, and you're so good at it. Thanks. How do you, as such a young soul, a young spirit, have such depth and wisdom to be able to like make the audience feel that, like your tears come up. Where do you go to get that?
I think sometimes, even if when you're really young, if there's material that's just really effective and there's a world that's created really clearly on the page, like it just sort of comes naturally. I had great teachers with it. My dad worked in theater for a long time, so I would study the scenes and rehearse with him. And Knight was a great director who spent a lot of time with us in rehearsal, sort of laying the groundwork for what ended up on screen. But when you're 10, sometimes as an actor now you have to draw on your past experiences to sort of create an emotional reality for certain scenes. But when you're 10, you don't have a lot of those in the bank.
No.
So it has to come out of the scene and everything. And just that environment was so believable and so intense, like it just sort of made it happen.
Just happened.
Yeah.
I mean, that goes to show you your talent too, because you're actually doing something called listening, which a lot of actors don't do. And if you're present in the scene, then it's kind of easy.
It's true. That's the way to go. Yeah.
And Bruce, was he cool to work with?
Very cool to work with. Yeah. Yeah. I remember I didn't go to these parties because I was 10, but like he would DJ like the parties on the weekend, and like Night when him would come in on Monday and he was like, "Oh yeah, when you put on that one track." Like it was a horror movie, but we had a lot of fun making it. Yeah.
Oh, I can see him at Planet Hollywood going, what? Do it up with me. So, what do you do besides making movies? Do you have a family?
Yeah, my close family lives in Los Angeles. My sister and my parents are out there. We hang out a lot. Very into sports. Like that's my big diversion from the disturbing current events of the day. Like big Dodger fan, following the NFL a lot. And then I play golf is big in this industry, as I'm sure you know. So
yes,
there's a lot of that on the weekends. Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
And how I talk about this on the show constantly, but because I do Celebrity Dirt and all these kids that have gotten into the business and wind up on the, just a terrible path. I'm like, why would you send your kids to this business? Like, it's torture. Like, there's no good that comes out of it sometimes. There's an exception. There's a few exceptions, of course.
Oh,
like
there's
yourself.
plenty. Yeah.
But why you? What do you think what did your family do differently that made you who you are today and still sitting here?
That was the big factor, I think, that determines the path you go down in this business if you start working young. And my parents just worked really hard to maintain the importance of school. Like I was working on films in the summer, but I went to regular elementary school, regular high school, and went to college here at NYU. So having that regular life outside of work was pretty important. And also it's just, I kind of got involved in the business by accident. I didn't have parents who were really pushing any sort of ambition or anything with it. So and they would say, I think it was really important to them to say, especially at a really young age, like, if you want to stop, you can quit tomorrow. Like, it's just, if you're not having fun, had I wanted to get out, I could have. And I just really ended up liking it a lot. So
you weren't supporting your family financially?
No, and that's actually illegal in California. The Coogan laws, because in the early 20th century, there were parents who were known to steal all the money. So it goes away into a trust fund until you're an adult. Yeah.
And would you ever allow your kids in this business?
It depends. I mean, I'm just afraid for kids in the world now, like with the phones and the social media and everything. It just seems like the walls are closing in around everything in society. So I work in an industry where my life is so unpredictable, and I'm don't know what city I'm going to be in the next month or what my next job is going to be. I'm definitely not close to the phase where I could provide a stable environment for a kid, because as you know, in this business, it's like, I'm going to South Africa for 6 months, goodbye.
Exactly.
Like, that happens a lot.
Right. Yeah. I dragged my kid everywhere with me because I'm like, you know what, I'm a single mom. He's coming with me because I'm not missing this childhood.
Exactly. Yeah. Oh man, day by day, there's different things going on. I've heard.
Yeah. What is the biggest thing that people come up to you and say, like comments?
Well, recently it's been. My favorite is when they talk about Comedy Bang Bang, because I'm a huge Comedy Bang Bang fan, and I played kind of a weird character on that series, so that's always a fun one to hear. People talk about Future Man. Silicon Valley is really big with people, and it's funny because it'll be people who work in Silicon Valley who's like, let's get a picture of shaking hands. And I'm like, I kind of played like a bad, terrible business. You don't want to have this picture of you didn't want to go into business with my character.
No, not at all. I want to plug your stuff again. Future Man streaming on Hulu, also promoting 2 upcoming movies, Extremely Wicked, Shockingly Evil, and Vile, and Devil Has a Name. What's Devil Has a Name?
That is a true story about an oil company in the turn of the century that released radioactive wastewater into the Central Valley in California, where everything, all that produce is grown. And they were sued by farmers in the region for like killing off a lot of their crops and everything. And I play an ad man who's trying to spin positive press for the oil company. That has David Strathairn, Alfred Molina, Martin Sheen, and Kate Bosworth, and Edward James Olmos directed it. So that was a dream to be on set.
Are you like a demon in that movie?
I'm a pretty bad guy. Yeah,
Right?
I drive a yellow Hummer. That's never a good sign. So.
You are, you know what? You are surprisingly, just not surprisingly, I had a feeling you were going to be super down to earth and cool, and
Thanks.
I really enjoyed talking to you.
It's great talking to you, too.
I wish you all the best, and I can't wait for you to, I can't wait to see what you do next, because ever since I saw you, I was like, I'm going to follow this kid till he keeps, till he quits, because I just think that you're one of the best.
Thank you very much. That's nice of you to say.
Really. Congratulations, Haley. So check out Future Man streaming on Hulu. Extremely Wicked, Shockingly Evil, and Vile, and The Devil Has a Name. Come back anytime, my friend.
Will do. See you soon. Thank you.
You got it. Bye, honey. We'll be right back.
Jenny McCarthy Show. Oh!